thank you for your continued support. This panel, an interesting panel, is again entitled Nail It, Then Scale It, AI Innovate Growth Hack Playbook for Fintech. And we have sharing this panel Sangeeta Bavi, Digital Natives Lead at Microsoft, Dr. Malesh Bomanahal, co-founder and CEO of i3 Systems, Subbu R, founder and CEO, Discover Dollar. Subbu was the only delegate from India at TiEcon 2015 in Silicon Valley and was the youngest CEO to be featured in the CEO magazine in 2017. Malaysia is spearheading the company's growth and leads product management, sales, and strategy functions. Sangeeta is responsible for accelerating the growth of startups by enabling them with the right programs, platforms, and services to help them scale locally and globally. Working with various stakeholders in the startup ecosystem, she is committed to helping startups grow by leveraging the various Microsoft programs on offer. Prior to this, she has been the chief of staff to the president of Microsoft India and has also been a partner, business evangelist, as well as product marketing manager for Windows apps. Over to Sangeeta and the team.
Good morning, everyone, and Delhi-NCR, thank you for putting together this fantastic platform. And what an apt name, Unstoppable India. Startups and entrepreneurs are actually at the forefront for making this happen, making India unstoppable. We saw this in 2021, where a unicorn was being created every 9 days. And today in 2022, we have accelerated that. A unicorn is being born every 7 days. And there is not just a massive pace of scale and disruption that is being created by entrepreneurs, but what's interesting is there is a very fantastic built in India for India innovation that we are witnessing today. And fintech is at the forefront of making this happen. It is one of the leading markets in India where we are witnessing this shift. There are more than 2,100 fintech startups today in India. And what's interesting is 67% of these have been set up in the last 5 years. And the one of the key enablers for making this radical acceleration happen is the financial digital infrastructure that we have in the form of UPI. It has seen a participation of more than 260 banks in India and a phenomenal recorded monthly transactions of 4.2 billion. And that has enabled innovations, be it in payments and lending, in your wealth tech, personal financial management, appealing to the millennials and the Gen Zs of India. And we've just scratched the surface. So I'm very excited to host two experts who are both practitioners and founders creating some disruptive solutions in this space. Subbu and Malesh, welcome. Excited. I would like to hear one line from you. We've all heard that India is at the forefront of the fintech innovation. Which part of fintech is interesting and exciting for you? One line.
So yeah, so I can go. So thanks, Sangeeta. Thanks for having us here. So yeah, so what I can see is I have been in this space since 2014 in the startup space, and TiE happened to be one of the first companies where I had a touch points with startups, and happened good to have them be here speaking today in this event, right? So what I'm seeing is the amount of energy people are having, the youngsters, the entrepreneurs. When I used to say in 2014, people who were getting into startups, it was not seen as cool. None of the talent wanted to be in startup world. But come say 2020, 2022, we are seeing a lot of people want to be founders, want to work for startups. And that's the best part, what I'm saying, because that itself creates a lot of trickle down effect in terms of solving complex problems, bringing better talent, and addressing those issues across every sector, right? So yeah, that's what is exciting for me.
Great energy and excitement. Uh, Malish, your
Yeah,
thoughts.
hi. Yeah, hi. Firstly, glad to be here. During my student days at IIT Bombay, I've witnessed many of the talks by Tai, and happy to be on this side of the table this time. Um, so I'm very excited about technology space in general. Starting off, as a ecosystem, we started off with building applications specific to Indian customers, but now we are at a stage that where we are even building some really fundamental technologies, leveraging AI, blockchain, etc., which address the very specific needs of the Indian customer and Indian ecosystem. So I'm particularly excited about these fundamental technological developments which get tried and tested in India, and then they get exported to the rest of the world.
No, so true, Malish. This is an enabler for build in India, scale in India, and then go global. Fantastic. Subbu, tell us about the Discover Dollar journey. Right, I was reading up on you manage, you help, you enable corporates save about $500 million just by stopping leakages and driving efficiencies for large corporations. Now that sounds too good to be true. So tell us a little more about this and what you do.
Thanks. It's not only you to think that's too good to be true. Sometimes even we feel that. And I never thought companies can leave so much money on the table, right? And when I got introduced to this problem, I never thought about it. So when I worked with first customer, when we ran a pilot, we saved them say like few million, couple of $1 million in just a pilot. That was when I realized, hey, this is actually the problem companies are seeing. So if I have to go one step back and think why this is happening, the companies earlier were working heavy on people mode and a process mode, and there was always inefficiencies in the process, and it was widely accepted that hey, this cannot be fixed or this cannot be solved because it was too expensive to solve, or it's okay to have 99% accuracy, 99.5% accuracy. It was accepted norm, right? So they thought that 99.5 is 100%. So when we went with the new technologies, the new way of doing things, when you're able to go to the ground level and do things, that's when we were able to see the whole game from a different perspective. And we are dealing with say 40 million negotiations every year. When I'm saying negotiations, contracts, email, documents, and with a small team of 40, 45, it's never possible for you to go and do that manually, right? So the new age technologies like AI, machine learning, and data analytics is what is helping us go that hyper efficiency mode and bring that money to the companies. And corporates being very, very large in size, even 0.5%, 1% savings means a lot of dollar value. So we found it very difficult to go to customers and tell, hey, you are losing money because it's a blind spot. They thought it's not a problem. So the way we went about solving that is saying them, hey, you don't pay anything upfront. You just share the data and we will deliver you the value, and only if we deliver you the value is when you pay us. And that was a very powerful statement for us to make because we inherently understood this, and people saw confidence in what we are doing, because nobody will come and say that I will upfront invest time, money, effort, energy, right, and bring value upfront. So since we started doing that, that's when people started opening up a little more than what it was. And yeah, since then it's been a dream journey. Like some of the companies whom we work, like Target and AB InBev, multi-million dollar money saved year over year. And yeah, that's what accumulated to be a $500 million worth of opportunity. And what we've done is just a scratching the surface. What I'm seeing is an opportunity as things become better, as the algorithms become more efficient, as we get better data, things are going to become even better.
Awesome, and great to hear that I wasn't aware of you also are disrupting the business model. You are actually showing the value and then charging the customer, right? Fantastic. And Malesh, I3 systems also is driving a lot of efficiencies, right? You're disrupting the traditional way of processing documents, and of course the associated challenges because of the faulty decisions. You truly have a data-centric decision-making product for insurance and health tech sector. So tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah. So, so the Indian health insurance market is used to be extremely small, but it's still small. So there was, and the challenges in the Indian market are very specific. So unlike the West, which spends, you know, a lot of money on healthcare administration itself, apart from the healthcare part of it, a lot of these dollars are spent on standardization of the data analytics and plugging payment leakages. And this adds up to approximately 15% of the overall healthcare cost, right? And what we understood early on in 2016 is that the Indian ecosystem is not in a position to spend 15% of the overall health cost just on healthcare administration itself. So we thought, this is the right time to make use of technologies, specifically clinical AI models, in order to, in order to, in order to drive the standardization of the data and to derive insights and to automate the processes like underwriting process, claims process, and so on. And that is what is going to help drive efficiencies, but also simplify the processes and in the long term plug all the payment leakages in terms of fraud, wastage, abuse, right? So all of this is extremely developed in the West, but they spend 15% money just on this administration. Our vision is that all of this should be under 1% if we use the technology in the right manner, and we've been working on this for past 6 years.
Wow, fantastic. And also it makes it more affordable, reach the masses via what you do. Interestingly, the solutions that you mentioned, imagine all of this coming together in the form of, a package solution addressing problems for customers at large. Microsoft is actually, we have a financial industry cloud, which is an initiative to create that technology fabric so that innovative solutions like yours can be built on top of that. And we offer literally a end-to-end comprehensive solution to our customers. So fantastic to see that. Malish, what have been your key learnings in developing this product, especially in the last couple of years during pandemic? How has pandemic accelerated innovation in this space and adoption? Can you share a few insights on that?
Yeah, so pandemic was a very special situation, and which brought out, which highlighted, especially in the technology world, it highlighted both the strengths as well as weaknesses in the industry, right? And weaknesses is especially the quality of cloud infrastructure, the quality of data and information security processes in the industry, and clearly people who had invested in having right infra and information security processes benefited during the pandemic. What it also highlighted is the over dependence on people processes, which is where which is helped drive which is what helped us drive and it adoption of technology and innovation. So once people were working from homes and there was a lot happening in healthcare and health insurance specifically, it was very difficult for enterprises to ensure that the processes run in the same manner as they used to from the offices, right? So it's not possible. So which is where AI stepped up to the game, which is where the enterprises also realized that the job of AI is not only to automate things, but to make it transparent, to simplify these processes. And these two roles of AI became more prominent, and not just the automation, right? So to give you an example, the COVID-19, so everybody was buying this COVID-19 benefits product through their phone apps. All the apps had this COVID-19 insurance benefit product. But the key challenge there was that there was a flood of claims of COVID-19, and these being smaller ticket size claims, you can't spend so much money and so much time, given the criticality of this, to adjudicate these claims. So it very clearly highlighted the importance and the role of clinical natural language processing, clinical AI models in order to auto adjudicate these claims, right? So that was one great thing, and while it pushed that trend forward and accelerated the adoption of AI in automating, simplifying, and making these processes transparent. The trend has just continued even when the COVID has slowed down.
So acceleration of or adoption of the technology or the usage of these products, and that behavior has continued because of the benefits that people have seen, right? That's great.
Yeah.
Subbu, what are your thoughts on uh, data analytics powered by strong AI ML technologies in literally redefining business models? And since you already are disrupting the business model, would be great to hear that. And what do you think? Do you think that all of us know that AI is going to be mainstream, right? It's no longer about this being a innovative technology on the side. Uh, what's your message in terms of how should everybody think of adopting this for faster go-to-market of their products and solutions?
Yeah, so yeah, like earlier we spoke about it, right? So we ourselves were able to disrupt, and the large part of that disruption was possible only because we took the data first, the AI, machine learning, and being a part of our core offering itself, right? So without that, it was very hard to think from that angle for us at all. But the moment when our business was able to use data and AI for creating completely different way of approaching the problem, the way of solving this problem, we were able to come up with a very disruptive model, and it's working for us, right? And with that, we're able to be profitable and sustainable as well. So I think that's definitely one of the biggest drivers, I would say, for many industries, because the the application is and adoption is just increasing. The availability of data is also increasing significantly. One of the things which comes to my mind immediately as we speak is the 10-minute delivery thing, right? So there's a lot of buzz around it. There are a lot of naysayers and backers of it. If we just look at that 10-minute delivery thing, so for someone who don't understand what's happening in the back end may think, hey, this is unwanted, or it's impractical, it's impossible. But when we dig deeper, probably we can see companies in the longer run will know to a large extent, say, where, who is ordering, when they're ordering, what are they ordering, and they can create that hyper efficiency, creating whatever that dark stores or hyper efficient hyper local deliveries. So whoever is using these kind of technologies will feel that, hey, it's possible to do that sustainably, and somebody may not even see. So that will definitely create and differentiate between the leaders and the followers, or someone who would say. And that's just beginning, right? It's one of the spaces. There is a lot more to happen in many space, especially given we work on retail. In retail, one point of time, e-commerce was only seen as the way future. But with AI and ML coming into in-store analytics and doing a lot more, uh, hybrid or what a omni-channel is also becoming aware, and Amazon is buying wholesale, Whole Foods, and many others to to get that kind of a game played on the other side as well. So at the end of the day, what all is powering is AI and ML at the end of it. And I think it's an interesting space. I would say more than 70 to 80% of the industries will be defined based on how adoption of AI and ML happens for them, for the core offering of theirs. That's what I see as going. But there will be few industries which may not use that for some time. Yeah.
Absolutely. And for this to happen, right, you also need to invest a lot in the in talent, in making sure that you have the right set of both developers, engineers, everybody who can bring these technologies into play. So, Malish, what are some of the initiatives you think one I3 Systems is taking, because AI/ML data core technologies is what drives your product? And what do you think the ecosystem should be doing a lot more for mainstreaming this adoption?
Yeah, so at i3 Systems, so initially, being a startup, we couldn't afford to hire, experienced folks from the data science team, right? So we delved on this journey of identifying right kind of raw talent and and the apprenticeship model, and many of them have become great data scientists today. I think the entire ecosystem needs to do that, which is to identify right talent and train them well and make them part of the data science community. So, so I think that is very important. Another thing that I feel is very important is the data sharing aspect of it, while being cognizant of data security as well as data privacy, right? And we have a data privacy law coming in India. The draft is ready in the parliament, and we are all waiting for that to come out and create and define it, make it extremely clear that what kind of data can be pooled, shared, and utilized for development of technology. On i3 Systems end, because we work with all the top insurance companies in India, and our systems are processing their data, we've been able to, create some sort of understanding in this ecosystem that sharing data is going to be beneficial to everybody in the industry. And I think similar tech companies in different industries and ecosystems need to become enablers of similar data sharing best practices, while being cognizant of data security and data privacy, right? And truly, I think the data will become the oil that can power this industry and our economy at large, only when it is pooled, it is standardized, it is curated appropriately, while making sure that everything is happening on the right side of the laws and governance frameworks.
Uh, Great to sort of hear these, because if I flip it on the enterprise or the corporate side, right, there are similar such initiatives and challenge areas that we see. And one of the steps, everybody is doing their own bit. One of the things that Microsoft is doing is creating programs like AI Innovate, which not only help bring in the right kind of tech talent, augment the tech talent that startups have, bringing in experts, engineers from Microsoft, help you build those scenarios. But also a lot of effort now is being focused on enabling skilling, both on the tech side as well as on the business side, in terms of what are the benefits of adopting some of these technologies. So Subbu, you have Discover Dollar has always used a tech first approach, right? What is your message to the audience as they build out AI led, or they build a product which has advanced technologies in their own area? What are the things to watch out for? What are some of the best practices that Discover Dollar has done? Would love to hear your inputs.
Yeah, so we were always data and tech fast, right? So, but we have our fair share of mistakes what we have done. So, I would want to share that probably earlier, and may help most of the founders here and the startups, right? So, the biggest mistakes what we did is we went with a cool versus need kind of situation, right? Whenever this commonly happens with engineers and folks who are very technical, they want to solve a very complex problem, and they get that maybe a sugar rush or a whatever, that feeling of something is accomplished. And we have had many such scenarios where we went, built an amazing feature, thought it's like groundbreaking and people will love it, and we spend so many months or time building that, and boom, we go to the market. There is no adoption, or people don't even know that it exists, and there is a lot of feeling of, okay, uh, either customers are not aware of it, are they idiots, or are they not getting what we're trying to say? So these all questions come, and most importantly, a lot of disappointment, right? And this has happened, but that's where things can go wrong. People should be watchful rather than trying to build a perfect solution from day one and giving it to customers. Try and go iterative process where even balance between what's actually the customer need, and keep building and build a feedback loop as fast as possible. And that feedbacks can help in building a better product over a period of time. So look at the long term from that angle. And in our specific scenario, one of the biggest and important space as a best practice which we have built, and we have definitely opportunity to improvise, but we're quite proud of building that internally, is a very cohesive and a very uh, great bond and kind of connect between the four pillars, what we call in terms of the team members who work on solving the customer problem, because end of the day we have to get that dollar right, for our customers, that money on the table. So there are basically four teams who have to come in: the financial analyst, the data analyst, the data science team, and the developers. Each play a very important role in a different way. What happens is everybody usually sees it from their perspective, but what we flipped is try and make other team understand what, say, data science team should understand the domain guys should understand data science to a large extent, and then they will speak in the same language. And that's what has worked best. People are able to have that seamless communication and get what they want to do. It's easier as a startup to do, I feel. It's as we scale, we have to also figure out how we can build that best practices. But yeah, that has been a great driver, and that's something will bring, I can say, 10x efficiency compared to if you're working in silos, and that's been our experience, I can say. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Subbu and Malesh. We are on time. Great having you on the panel. And thank you, Thai Delhi NCR team again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sangeeta.
Thank you, Sangeeta, Dr. Malesh, and Subbu.